and welcome back to this episode of When Push Comes to Shove. Today we have the beautiful Cora, and she is a naturopathic practitioner and an author and a hypnobirthing teacher and all-round lovely, gorgeous person. So thank you so much for joining us today, Cora. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about this amazing book that you're writing right now?
The title of the book is Ecstatic Birth. Chose this title because it's my passion. I had 3 children. All were pain-free, and which was uncommon at that time. So because it was 1979, 1967, 1959. Yes, yes, and these are pain-free and especially really ecstatic. And I discovered that was my first orgasm I ever had. After I had to have an orgasm with sex, I noticed, it was present during my first birth. My son birth hospital, and it was induced. And but I the book of Grant Reed, Childbirth Fear, and it really impressed me. So I was really convinced that I would have no pain. I was full of and because biology, I believe in nature. So I had the birth preparation course, which basically taught me breathing. These breathing techniques. I tried to use them. I then noticed it didn't really work. So nature, and I was breathing the way my body told me to, and the midwife seemed to think that would be quite a lot. So she not present, or husband was with me, which was then the thing, and we had to fight. It was really helpful. He was sitting at my side. I went into my birth, and when it came to pushing, and my asked to the midwife and told her my wife is moaning. She came. She said, "Oh, it's the pushing waves, so we need to call the doctor." And so she called and the doctor came. I got cut of episiotomy, yes, and they wanted to give me a gas. I said no pain. And oh yes, you need to take that. And I said no. Then again they tried to make me take it, and said no, my wife doesn't want narcotics. Okay. Then I had my baby, and this second baby, that was the most extraordinary birth that I ever heard of. I woke up in the middle of the night, was feeling strange, and so I went. Some mucus came out, and I thought maybe the birth is starting. I woke up my husband. I had planned a home birth, and I told him, please go, midwife. So he said, shouldn't we prepare the bed first? And I said, oh, well, we'll have time when the midwife's there. He went to get the midwife. We didn't telephone at the time. And then I felt I had to put my hands on my bed, contractions. And then I noticed, oh, it's very, very short breaks. It's a minute or so. Suddenly I felt this urge to push. So I pushed. And I will have to break now. No. The second push came, and then I heard a baby cry at my rear end. And I thought, oh, well.
That was quick.
That was quick. It was about, I guess, 20 minutes.
Wow. That is nice and quick.
Didn't really feel the contractions, you know. If I had a more sound sleep, got my baby in the sleep, except from the pushing. So I kind of woke up from my orgasm and picked up the baby and looked at it, and yes, and then after a while, the placenta came, and then I think after half an hour, my husband came with a midwife, and she said, "Couldn't you have waited?" I said, "No."
Can you have waited? That's hilarious. Well, in which part of the world did you birth your babies?
It was in northern Germany. So the third baby, it was a bit more difficult circumstances, and it was a bit early. I was a single mother at that time, and nevertheless, I trusted the process. And the midwife said, "Oh, this is a sleeping birth," because between the contractions, I deeply relaxed, and to her it must have looked like I fell asleep each time. So that was the third painless birth.
Amazing.
And when I had my children grown up, and I had 2 foster children, I was present at their births, and well, not my last daughter, but the others, and it really helped them. So one of my foster daughters had labor when she was, I think, in the 7th month, and in the hospital they couldn't stop it, so they were preparing for a very early birth, and I came to the hospital, and I brought with me some Bach flower remedies, you know them?
Yes.
So I made a mixture for her because, of course, I know her, and the labor stopped. They let her go home, and I kept bringing her the Bach flower remedies, and I think she gave birth 2 weeks before the due date, and she afterwards she told me she had heard of a very complicated birth of one of her friends, and she said if you wouldn't have been present, it would have really been difficult for me. So they wanted to give her an epidural, but when they came with the equipment, they made an examination, and so she was wide open, and they said, "Oh, no, too late." Without any intervention.
Wow.
And, yeah. So lately, I started being interested in accompanying pregnant women and during birth. So I had a colleague who said she was pregnant. I asked her, "Can I accompany you?" And she said, "Yes, why not?" So I read all the books that she was reading, and among them were 2 books about hypnobirthing, and I read them, and I said, "Oh, this is why my birth went so well." Kind of same method. I said, "Oh, I can do a course, and maybe I can teach it." Yeah. So I accompanied her. She had planned a home birth. She had a midwife, but the midwife couldn't believe that her labor was painless. When she had the first examination, she was really disturbed, and I had to give her some rescue remedy so she could go back into her state, and that worked. So when her husband suggested that it was very close to the birthing process, that they midwife, she said, "No, I don't want a midwife." So I said to her husband, "Okay, no problem." So, we did it, and the midwife came half an hour later, which was nice. The placenta was already born, and she could bond with the baby. We were very relaxed and very happy, so that worked well. And a friend of hers called me. It was Corona time. And she didn't want in person, but she wanted some advice. And her doctors had told her, 5 doctors had told her she should have a cesarean because the baby was too big. Wanted to have a natural birth. Yeah. So I asked her to change a bit of her diet, and I sent her some hypnobirthing meditation, and told her what Bach flower remedies and other flower essences she should buy and how they work, what to take when, and in what condition. And I told her to teach her husband what to give her in what kind of state. Then she argued with her doctors, and then they agreed if she does give birth 5 days after the due date, then they could induce the birth. But it worked well without inducing. It went spontaneous, and
amazing.
So, and she in the beginning she said no painkillers, not at all, and please leave me alone as much as possible, which I obviously did. And she had a beautiful natural birth. With they in the end they urged her to push, which she didn't want. I told her no pushing is possible. Just let the uterus do the work. And but the pressure was too big, so she did they commanded her to push. So she had a bit of a tear, but wasn't big. Was good.
Was the baby big?
The baby was not as big as the doctors said. They had said between 4,500 and 4,800 grams, and it was 4,100.
Okay, quite average.
Yes, not really.
Not really
so
big.
Everything went fine. So I was really happy that I could even via telephone help her to have a natural and safe birth, which really made me happy.
I'm sure. So all of these experiences, is this what the Ecstatic Birth book that you're writing, is this what it's all about?
Yes, I will talk about birth conditions of the birth that people tell me about, and I talk about the conditions that disturb an ecstatic birth and the conditions that help to get into this ecstatic state, and especially these Bach flower remedies and other flower remedies. So there's one, we have German flower remedies. So the one for birth is cauliflower.
Okay.
It's in German, it's Blumenkohl.
Wow. Okay.
If you make a cauliflower blossom, then you can make flower blossoms out of that.
Wow.
That is a birth remedy.
That's amazing. I've never heard of that.
Therapist where I get them, she did a lot of research. And she's a naturopathic practitioner too. So she's, I very, very long time I get the flower remedies from her. So they are really amazing. So I use them to accompany births, and which it really helps.
It definitely sounds like it. I know that I use rescue remedy sometimes in birth for myself or the midwife or anyone who's present.
Right. So that's I use it. I give it during pregnancy. I give everyone the Bach flower remedy rescue, and I say if anything is disturbing you, take rescue.
That is very good advice.
Yeah, and I remember my foster daughter when she was had these pushing waves, what they call them. It took her, I think, about half an hour, and she felt exhausted. And I gave her olive, and the exhaustion was gone. Everything went fine. For every possible situation that during giving birth, I have a Bach flower remedy or other flowers and flower remedies. And this is really helpful because you don't have to discuss anything. you can leave the woman in her ecstatic state, and when she says, oh, there's anxiety, I just give her the remedy, and the anxiety is gone and she's fine. You know, I don't have to discuss and calm her down or anything. I just say, here's the remedy. And then she can go back to ecstatic state, and
Amazing.
that really helps.
When is your book available? When will it be available to purchase? And will it be translated into English?
I will have a translation into English, and it's not finished yet, but I decided I want to look at to find a publisher. It's not in that stage yet, but nearly.
That's amazing. You will have to let us know when it's available so that we can share it. And I definitely would love a copy to read, because it sounds amazing. Yes,
maybe I'll ask someone to translate it for me and just do the corrections, and so that will shorten the process for the translation.
Oh, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing book, packed full of lots of very useful information.
Yes, I think it will be really helpful for women who read it, because especially of the Bach flower remedies and other flower remedies that I use, I made a list, and with explanations how each of them works during pregnancy and during
Do you feel like the flower remedies with the hypnobirthing together is what really helps? And obviously the information and being informed on how to have an ecstatic birth, but the main components being the flower remedies and the hypnobirthing together are like a perfect team for birth.
So yes, I love to give the information of the hypnobirth, these meditations during pregnancy, and during I just am present with my flower remedies, and that to be enough. So I worked out the main things to ecstatic birth and pain-free birth, or maybe some pain may come up. It's not a birthing pain, it's just some pain because of tensions. So, and if you're in an ecstatic, you won't pay attention to any. So I said the basics for it is, the first is deep trust, the second is deep breathing, third is deep relaxation.
Perfect. They sound amazing. This is, you know, the basics of birth, isn't it? Is having these three, the trust and the breathing and the relaxation, and being able to relax into it.
And the book mainly is about how to achieve these.
Amazing.
I have a lady now, she contacted me when she just thought she might be pregnant. She had 2 early miscarriages. What they do to the uterus after, what is it called?
The DNC after a miscarriage. So when they physically remove everything from the uterus,
some tissue,
yeah, there's a DNC here.
And immediately after that, pregnant again. She wanted to keep the baby. I helped her, and now she is in, I think, the 14th week.
Wow.
She had some bleeding in before the end of the 12th, but with Bach flower remedies and my others, it came and it went. And the babies, of course, she went to the doctor to have ultrasound, and the baby was seemingly happy.
Is it very common in Germany to use things like Bach flower remedies and alternative medicine in general? No.
Not really, no. No, it was something I came across when my children were grown up, and a friend told me, oh, I came across these Bach flower remedies. They're great, try them. So I was interested in health, and I said, okay, I'll try them, and I just need to find someone who knows about them. So I found a woman who said she can counsel me, and she taught me about these flower remedies. It really helped with my health.
Mm-hmm.
So when my children were grown up and having babies, I thought maybe I was really astonished. I always thought maybe it's just placebo. When my foster daughter was in the hospital with this early labor, once I came with my remedy, of course, secretly, know that I was bringing them. I brought a bottle of seemingly water, and then I came across the situation where she was on the monitor. Yes, and I told her, just take a sip. I have to see if it makes a difference. Mm-hmm. So she took the bottle and took a sip, and I could see whether she had a contraction that stopped, and in between the contractions, the lowered, so that the tension seemed to be reduced. And even when she took the bottle in her hand, I could see an effect. Oh, this can't be placebo. And especially when I changed the mixture, she didn't know I changed it. Once I had chosen the right mixture, so I looked into some book and made a mixture more according to that what was written in the book, but that didn't really work. She had 3 different mixtures. 2 of them, 1 didn't, so it couldn't be placebo.
No, that's very true. You have evidence, anecdotal evidence base there that it did do something. It worked.
With much more conviction, I applied my Bach remedies to apply. It really worked well.
If somebody is pregnant and they are in Germany and they would like to get a hold of you, do you have an email or a website that people can find you on?
Yes. I have an email. I don't have a birthing website yet, but I have a general website, and my email is Cora Brandt, like my name in one word, AOL.com.
We'll put that in the comments, so if anybody is in Germany, or I mean around the world, I guess.
WhatsApp or Telegram, so I can send hypnobirthing, these meditations, yes. So that is nice to have. And I think it helped with the lady who I had on the telephone. It helped her. She heard it several times before her birth. So she said it was really wonderful. I'm really excited about everything. And I would just add something.
Yeah.
One, she knew that I was giving advice for pregnancy and birth. And she contacted me, and she said she had such a horrible birth with her first baby. She is planning to have a planned cesarean. And then I wrote a chapter on cesarean. And I interviewed someone I know very well who had 3 children with cesarean. And this lady, she said, it's an error to have a planned cesarean to avoid pain, because she experienced it. She had pain during her first labor, during giving birth to her first baby, and the doctor said she had to have a cesarean because the baby was in distress. They said so. She had this cesarean, and she said the conditions after cesarean were much worse than the pain that she had during the birth. First one, the second and third were planned cesareans, and the wound was really painful. She couldn't lift her baby. It took her 2 weeks before she could really lift something and walk around. It took a while till she was completely healed. And she said, anyone who wants a planned cesarean is an error. Why I made a cesarean. And I wrote a chapter about pain too. I said there is no birthing pain. If you have pain, it's either like the day you have back labor, back pain labor. And I said that's due to tension in the muscles of the back. I know how to change during pregnancy, how to change your pattern of moving, and that helps. That's something I learned. If the lower belly is hurting, that's due to tension in your pelvic muscles, and if you can relax, you won't have pain.
Do you often do you ever refer people to like an osteopath to help them with the way that they're moving and things like this? Do you believe osteopathy can help?
I have 3.5 years of training in that field, so that also helps me to help pregnant women if they have back pain or tend to have back pain. Of course, having a heavy belly that alleviates the back pain, like how to walk and how to sit and how to breathe and how to move your spine while you're lying, sitting, or walking around. That really helps.
I think it's very important. I often recommend all of my clients go and see an osteopath. I think we sit so much now as well. And, you know, even sitting here, I find that sometimes I sit funny and it affects everything. When you're pregnant, everything with the relaxing that's going on in your body, everything's shifting and the extra weight, and just to go and have an osteopath appointment and get realigned is so helpful.
It is. I teach them myself how to move, so they don't have to see anyone else. People have a traumatic experience. I did the journey. I'm a journey practitioner, and I have techniques to heal the trauma. So that is very helpful too. The lady with the home birth, and she, during her contractions, something came up from her grandmother, and then everything went fine. Happy birth, fulfilling birth, which it's still to watch that, to see that now. It's so wonderful. I wish there were more women who would be able to accompany other women so that they feel safe and can have an ecstatic and pain-free birth.
Hopefully lots and lots of people will read your book and will learn all about it, and then we'll be in a much better position to be able to support all women to have ecstatic birth.
Right. I want to distribute that idea, and when the book is finished, and give my own courses, including the flower remedies. So what I recommend before I give the courses, belly dancing.
Awesome.
That, I guess, is really helpful to moving and to have movements that are fun. Help to have more self-esteem as a woman.
Yeah,
I think that is also a very important message. That
definitely,
as a woman, you are really something unique. The interview to Sarah Schmidt, that was at all her birth videos.
Oh, they're amazing.
They are amazing. And this interview gave more of background. And so I could understand more, went through how she came to her conclusions and to this. And I think that is wonderful. I'm so happy that I could be part of this.
Well done for writing the book. Thank you so much for coming and talking with us.
Yes, I'm happy that I can do that. So it's really my passion.